السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وتفسير قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله في مسألة الشهادة أن يجعل بمقابلة ذي الذراع من العلو المجرد 33 والثلث ذراع من البيت الكامل، لأن العلو مثل نصف السفل، ف33 وثلاثون وثلث من السفل 66 وثلثان من العلو المجرد، ومعه 33 وثلث
بسم الله
ذراع
الرحمن
من
الرحيم.
العلو.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث، أصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين، ونور قلوبنا بمعرفتك، واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير، بك نستعين يا فتاح يا عليم. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue with the discussion on the qisma, that is the division or distribution of shared property into individual ownership, into individual shares. So we're busy discussing a property, either an upper story only, or a lower story only, or both upper and lower story being co-owned by two people. So according to Hanifa Rahmatullah, in the case of where it is only an upper story or only a lower story and not the other, then in that case the lower story, because it is of greater value, it will be equal to 2 shares of the upper property. And according to Imam Yusuf Rahmatullah, they are equal, so therefore they will be shared equally. However, Imam Muhammad Rahmatullah and the author has chosen this as the fatwa. He says that it will be divided according to the value of each property. You have to evaluate the property, upper story or lower story, and then divide the shares according to the ownership of the individual partners. Now they're explaining what does Imam Hanifa Rahmatullah mean by this. And like I said, I didn't really fully understand it. I did have a look at it over the weekend a few times. I'm still not sure what they're saying. They're saying وَتَفْسِيرُ قَوْلِ أَبِي حَنِيفَ رَحْمَةُ فِي مَسْأَلَةِ الْكِتَابِ, and the explanation of Imam Abu Hanifa Rahmatullah's opinion in the mas'ala mentioned in the kitab, in Kuduri, نفع الله بعلومه وبعلوم مشايخنا وأساتذتنا وأولياء كلهم آمين. أي يجعل بمقابلة 100 ذراع من العلو المجرد 33 وثلث ذراع من البيت الكامل, that you will place in conjunction or in opposition to, you will place 100 dhira meters, and the dhira, as I said, technically is about 58 centimeters plus minus. Just to make it easy, we'll use meters because we no longer use dhira, cubit length in our times or in our country. So you'll place in lieu of 100 meters of the upper building only, upper story only, meaning where an upper story only is co-owned by two people. So you take the upper story, 33 وثلث ذراع, you will place 33.3 meters of a complete building. Okay? So on the one side, you will assume a complete building, and on the other side, whatever that complete building measures, you'll take 33.3 meters of it sent to that upper story. لأن العلو لأن العلو مثل نصف السفلي. Why? Because the upper story is equal to a half in value of a lower story. فثلاثة وثلاثون وثلث من السفلي. So therefore, a 33 and a third of the lower story is equal to ستة وستون وثلاثون من العلو is equal to 66 and 2/3 of an upper story. So you'll double it. ومعه ثلاثة وثلاثون وثلث ذراع من العلو, and together with it 33 and 1/3 meters or 0.3 meters of the upper. So I didn't understand it. So if you understand, you can explain it to me, inshallah. Ji?
I'm still confused with it. I'm trying to figure
Maaf?
out. I'm still confused with it, but I don't get it. But
Yeah, I also
second
don't
part.
get this. I get and I understand it is saying that the lower story has double the value of the upper story. So therefore, if you're dividing it, for example, into thirds, then the one partner will get 66.23 cent, 2/3, 66.6 basically percent if you're working in percentages. Right? So 66 and 2/3 of the upper story. Which will be equivalent to 33 and a third of a lower story, meaning half of it. So because the lower story has greater value than the upper story. But now, where is it? So the other remaining 33.3 will be added to the will be added to what? To the lower story, but there's only one story, so ومعه referring to what? من العلوي, right? فبانت 100 ذراع. Okay, so it comes to 100 ذراع, right? Because that you understand that the sum of it is 100 ذراع, 100 meters. Okay. So تساوي 100 من العلو المجرد, which will be equal to 100 of a upper story only.
Moulana, is it saying that 2/3 of the downstairs is equivalent to like a full upstairs?
I'm not sure. Huh? I'm not too sure what he's saying. I get it. He's saying double the bottom is equal to double at the top and top. So if you're taking 33, meaning 1/3 of the bottom, you have to take 2/3 of the top. Yeah, anyway, this needs some more thought. I looked at the shuruhat as well, but they're basically just repeating what is being said here. They haven't given an explanation. So I checked Binaya and that. He's just repeating what is being said in the Hasha without explaining what it says. So I'm not too sure. Okay, so okay, then he's saying ويجعل بمقامة 100 ذراع من السفلي المجرد من البيت الكامل 66 وثلث ذراع. That in lieu of 100 dirhams of a lower story only, understand? of a complete house, you will place 66 and 2/3 ذراعs لأن علوه مثل نصف السفلي. Why? Because its upper story is equal to half of the lower story. فبلغت 100 ذراع. Again here he's saying the sum total equal 100 ذراع, 100 meters, كما ذكرنا, as we mentioned before. But now why are you taking the whole house to work out the sum of the one floor only? Okay, so I'll have a look at it again. I don't know. If anything comes to mind, or if you can ask one of the other asatida, maybe Mufti Sahib or so, I'll greatly appreciate that, inshallah, but I don't get this. I understand the basic concept, but I don't understand that he's working out of it. He's saying that the lower story has greater value, double the value of an upper story, right? But the method of working that out in order to bring about the distribution, I'm not sure. Okay, what he's saying. What tafsir inshallah.
I'll find out tomorrow, inshallah.
جزاك الله. وتفسير قول أبي يوسف أي يجعل بإزاء 50 ذراعا من البيت الكامل 100 ذراع من السفل المجرد. Imam Yusuf Rahmatullah's opinion is that you will place in lieu of 50 meters of a complete house equal to over 100 meters of a bottom story only. أو 100 ذراع من العلو المجرد, and 100 meters of an upper story only. لأن السفل من والعلو عنده سواء. Why? Because the bottom and the upper story by him is the same. ف50 ذراع من البيت الكامل بمنزلة 100 ذراع 50 منهما سفل و50 منهما علو. So therefore 50 ذراعs of a complete house will be in the same place as 100 ذراعs. Well, it will be equal to 100 ذراع, 50 from the top and 50 from the bottom. Otherwise, it's the same thing. So you'll divide equally, half 50-50 with only two partners. So that's simple. You know, there's nothing much there because he doesn't differentiate between top and bottom. So irrespective of whether there's an upper story only or lower story only, we'll split it according to half or whatever the shares are. And if it's a complete house, then it's even simpler. Each one gets half of the top. Each one gets half of each story, the upper story and the lower story. Right, now they're saying وإذا اختلف المتقاسمون وشهد القاسمان قبلت شهادتهما or قبلت شهادتهما. But if the mutaqasimun are in disagreement, understand? If they are in disagreement with regard to some of the shares in the hand of the other, وشهد المتقاسمون are the partners. So if the partners are in a disagreement with regards to what share they've received, the one is saying, no, my share is in his hands. And the guy is saying, no, I don't have your share, you've got your full share. وشهد القاسمان, and the qasiman, the arbitrators, the judge appointed, they bear witness. Then their shahada, their witness will be accepted. قال رضي الله عنه المصنف رحمه الله تعالى, he says, هذا الذي ذكره قول أبي حنيفة. What is mentioned in the matan? This is the opinion of Imam Hanifa رحمة الله عليه, وأبي يوسف and أبي يوسف رحمة الله عليه, meaning شيخين. وقال محمد رحمة الله لا تقبل. Imam Muhammad Ahmed says that their shahada, the witness of the arbitrators, will not be accepted. وهو قول أبي يوسف أولا, and that was Imam Yusuf's former opinion. That is Imam Yusuf Rahman's former opinion. وبه قال الشافعي رحمه الله. Imam Shafi Rahman is also of the same opinion. وذكر الخصاف رحمه الله تعالى قول محمد رحمه الله تعالى مع قولهما. He is mentioned that no, Imam Muhammad Rahman agrees with the other two as Shaykh. In other words, there's masla is muttafaq. There's no difference of opinion amongst the in the madhab. وقاسم القاضي وغيرهما سواء. And it doesn't matter whether these Qasims, the arbitrators, were that of the Qadi, meaning appointed by the judge, court appointed, or whether it is independent Qasims, right? Whether they are working independently, independent of the judiciary, and like they got their own what you call independent business that they're running. It doesn't matter whether it's them or the court appointed one. سواء لمحمد رحمه الله أنهما شهدا على أنهما شهدا على فعل أنفسهما. So Imam Muhammad رحمه الله, according to what is mentioned in the Matan, there's a khilaf according to what they mentioned first. If Imam Muhammad disagrees with Shaykh, what is the reasoning? So he's saying Muhammad رحمه الله شهدا على فعل أنفسهما. They're giving witness to something which they did, and they're giving witness upon themselves, in other words. Now, how can you give witness to what you did? That's not a witness, that's iqrar. I can't go into the court and stand as a witness for myself. Understand? It has to be somebody else, a third party that bears witness either for me or against me. I can't bear witness on behalf of it. I can't give testimony for myself. That's not a witness, that's iqrar. You follow?
Okay.
فَلَا تُقْبَلْ. So therefore it's not accepted. How can they be a witness to their own work? That this is what we divided and this is what each one got. كَمَنْ أَلَّقَ إِدْكُ عَبْدِي بِفِعْلِ غَيْرِهِ. Like how if someone makes ta'liq, he suspends the freedom, the emancipation of his slave upon the action of somebody else. That if somebody comes to my house, or if somebody, what can I say? Somebody goes to Joburg, you understand? Then you're free. And if you are free, understand? فشهد ذلك الغير. Now that person bears witness على فعلي, that yes, this is what I did. Then that I went to Joburg. Then I bear witness that I went to Joburg. It won't be accepted because you can't bear witness to yourself. You need a third party to say yes, he did go. And you need somebody else to say yes, he did go. Then the slave will be free. So in the same way, the same thing will apply. And in all other masails, and you can't be a witness to yourself. You can't be a witness for yourself. وَلَهُمَا in Shaykhin say أَنَّهُمَا شَهِدَ عَلَى فِعْلِ غَيْرِهِمَا. That no, we don't agree that they're bearing witness to themselves. They're bearing witness to the action of somebody else besides themselves. What is that? All istifa. And that is that these people took their full shares. That's what they're bearing witness to. They're not giving witness to what they did. Because what did they do? They divided the property. And this share is for you, this share is for you. They're not giving witness to that. They're giving witness that this person took his full share and that person took his full share. So they're bearing witness against their partners, not against themselves. You follow? Because the partners are disagreeing. One is saying that no, he's got my share. The other is saying no, I don't have your share. You got your full share. So the mutaqasim is saying yes, that this one is right, or that one is right. Saying that either he does have his full share, or he doesn't have his full share, or he wasn't given his full share by the other part. Okay, so they're not bearing witness against themselves, what they did. They're bearing witness against those two, as to whether they got their full share or not, or whether which one of them is right. Istifa wal qabd. So they're bearing witness against somebody else, and that is whether each one received their full share, istifa wal qabd, and whether they took ownership of their full share, what was allotted to them, what was given to them. La ala fi'li anfusihim. They're not bearing witness to what they did, which is division. لأن فعلهم التمييز, because their action in this world, their work in this particular case was what? Tamyiz, to separate, to divide, to distinguish what each one will get, what each share will be. ولا حاجة إلى شهادة عليه. There's no need to give witness to that. That was their job by the court. So there's no need for that because that's not being under dispute. That's not under dispute at the moment. What is under dispute is the two partners, whether they got what they were supposed to have, what they had been allotted or not. أو لأنه لا يصلح مشهورا به, or we can say that tamyiz is not something that you can bear witness to. And the tamyiz, their action, is not something you can bear witness to. لما أنه غير لازم, because it is not something which is compulsory. Then the act of dividing, the partners are not obliged to accept their division, not obliged to accept the division of the arbitrator, unless of course this has been signed off by the Qadi. The Qadi instructed it then it will be lazim. So, but otherwise, it's not lazim, but binding on the partners to accept it. So therefore, there's no need for witness. وَإِنَّمَا يَلْزِمُهُ بِالْقَبْضِ. It only becomes lazim by them taking possession, وَالْإِسْتِفَاء, and by them claiming their full haqq. وَهُوَ فِعْلُ الْغَيْرِ, and that is the action of somebody else, a third party, which is the partners in this case. فَتُقْبَلُ الشَّهَادَةُ عَلَيْهِ. So therefore, it's permissible and it's correct to accept their witness, their bearing witness in such a case. Understood that? Right. Now he's got Imam Tahawi's take on this. Right? Imam Tahawi, what does he say? Rahimahullah ta'ala. وقال التحاوي رحمه. This is the same Tahawi that we study in Madrasa Aqidat al-Tahawi and other kitabs. شرح الرأس شرح شرح معاني الآثار and so forth. وقال التحاوي رحمه الله إذا قسم بأجر لا تقبل الشهادة. And if they have arbitrated for money, for a wage, for payment, then the shahada cannot be accepted. الإجماع, by consensus. وإليه قال بعض المشايخ, and some other mashayikh are also of the same opinion, meaning they say that Imam Tahawi rahmatullahi what he's saying is correct in this matter. لأنهما يدعيان إيفاء عمل أستوجر عليه. Because in this case they are claiming to have fulfilled a job for which they were paid for. فكانت شهادة سورة ودعوى معنى. So therefore, this is witness. Outwardly, it seems like they're giving witness, but in reality, they're actually making a da'wah, they're making a claim that we did what we were paid for by these two people. فَلَا تُقْبَلْ. So therefore, it will not be accepted, because in this case, again, it is a claim that they cannot establish, they cannot substantiate by their own words. They need proof for it. Understand? إلا أن نقولهما لا يجران بهذه الشهادة إلى أنفسهما مغنما لاتفاق الخصوم على إيفائهما. Except that we will not say that they, meaning the the arbitrators, يجران مغنما is the مفعول. They're not getting any benefit. مغنما أي فائدة نفعا. They are not getting any benefit by giving witness to themselves. See? So although they're not, because normally when you give a da'wah, the da'wah is something in your favor. There's something for you to gain from it, and by you giving a witness in your own favor, there's something for you to gain. But there's nothing for them to gain in this case. Understand? There's nothing really for them to gain in this case. Why? لِاتِّفَاقِ الْخُصُومِ عَلَى إِيفَائِهِمَا الْعَمَلِ. Why? Because the people who are arguing the matter, the two partners, they have both agreed that the job was done fully by them. إِيفَائِهِمَا الْعَمَلِ. They completed their work. They completed what they were hired for. الْمُسْتَعْجَرْ عَلَيْهِ, for that which they were hired for. وَهُوَ التَّمْيِيزُ, which is to distinguish and to separate the two properties. وإنما الاختلاف في الاستيفاء فانتفت التهمة. The only اختلاف, the only difference of opinion here, or rather the only argument here, اختلاف, the argument here is whether those two partners receive their full haqq, whether they claim their full haqq or not. So therefore there's no tuhma, and there's no reason for us to doubt the shahada of the Qasiman. You follow?
Sure.
وَلَوْ شَهِدَ قَاسِمٌ وَاحِدٌ لَا تُقْبَلْ. And if only one Qasim, one arbitrator bears witness, it won't be accepted. There must be two. لأن شهادة الفرد غير مقبولة, because as you know, in most cases, not all the time, in most cases, especially when it comes to حقوق العباد, the witness of a single person is not acceptable على الغير, against somebody else. Meaning in حقوق العباد, most of the time, you need the minimum the minimum amount of two people, two males, or one male and two female. ولو أمر القاضي أمينه بدفع المال إلى آخر يقبل قول الأمين في دفع الضمان عن نفسه ولا يقبل في إلزام الآخر إذا كان منكرا والله أعلم. And if a qadi has to order his amin, meaning somebody that he has given a responsibility, so obviously he trusts that person, someone who is trustworthy according to the qadi, and someone whom he has vetted, in other words. If a qadi or somebody who is trustworthy, whom he has vetted, to give money to somebody else, then the witness or the statement of this entrusted person will be accepted in removing any liability against himself. Understand? If he says that I gave the money to this person, that person is refusing. So his word will be accepted it will be enough for us to remove any liability from him, any responsibility for repaying the money. However, وَلَا يُقْبَلُ فِي إِلْزَامِ الْآخَرِ, it won't be accepted where he is making something lazim upon somebody else, where he is imposing something against somebody else. إِذَا كَانَ مُنْكَرًا, if that somebody else is refuting what he is saying. So his word is sufficient to save himself, but it's not sufficient to impose any obligation on somebody else. This is if it's a single person, you understood?
Okay. So he can't go and make somebody pay somebody.
He
Or
can't
make somebody do something.
claim that a person owes the judge or owes somebody else something. You can't do that. And you can say that I did my work, or I paid the guy, or did whatever. So anything that clears his own name. But you can't say that that person didn't do A, B, and C. That you can't do. Understand? Because it's only one person. You need the full complement of two people, or you need some other dalil proof. Understand? To say that to do that. You follow?
Okay.
Okay. Any questions? Anything you didn't understand?
No, I'm not understood it.
Are there any other questions from anybody else? No. Yajurrani means to draw. And jarra yajurru means to pull, to draw, to drag something, right? So yajurrani maghnama, they're not drawing any maghnam, any benefit to themselves. Meaning that they're not getting any, they're not getting anything out of it by claiming that they fulfill their job, that they fulfill their task. Understand? Because that is already that has already been because the partners, the people who hired them, they're not arguing that. They're not arguing the fact that these people didn't do their jobs. What they're arguing about is whether that one partner did receive his full share or not. That's the argument. The one is saying that, for example, Abdullah and Zaid. So Zaid is claiming that Abdullah took part of my share. I didn't get my full share. Understand? And Abdullah is negating it. He's munkir. He's saying, no, you got your full share. Whatever was allotted to you, you got it. So they're not arguing over whether those arbitrators, the Qasiman, did their job or not. Understand? So the Qasiman don't get any benefit out of them saying, or testifying in this case. They don't get any personal benefit out of it. Because their job is not under question. Whether they did the job or not, that's not under dispute. So la yajurran, they are not literally jarra yajurru means to draw or to pull to yourself something. So yajurrani maghraman, they are not pulling any benefit, meaning they're not gaining any kind of benefit from bearing witness in this particular instance. Understood? Any other questions?
No, sir.
I'm looking for my son.
Moulana, where does this chapter come in Quduri? Is it part of Kitab al-Sharika?
It will be Kitab al-Qisma, same part. It will be under the same title, Kitab al-Qisma.
Okay. Around about Sharika? Somewhere around there?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look, inshallah. And I'll forward to Moulana, Luqman. and then you can let you know, inshallah. I'll check in Kuduri where about it comes there.
Certainly.
See anything else? No. والله تعالى أعلم وعلمه أتم وأحكم. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.